Mabrika, greetings, salutations, and good night. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Kevin Major, doing it major. Now, in this video, we're going to be doing something different. We're going to be casting the birth chart for a popular politician here on the island, Natasha Grey-Brookes. She recently resigned from her leadership position as the leader of the opposition party, the People's Action Movement Party. And so we want to dive into this and see what's going on astrologically. And so this is for entertainment, but also astrological education. And so dual nature. All right. So we're going to first start off with her birth chart. Just bear in mind that we don't know her time of birth and we're assuming that she was born in Sagittarius. Okay, so we're going under some assumptions. So this is more speculative astrology. Okay, so we won't know where her moon position is. We won't know the aspects of her moon. We won't know where her Mercury is to a fine degree. And we won't know the down and dirty degrees. However, just from the outset, we are still going to speculate and be able to, interpret a fair amount about this individual. Now, I don't know anything about this lady other than she's a politician and I think she may be a lawyer, right? Just by a quick Wikipedia search just to get her birthday. Now, from her birth chart, let me see if I could cast it here so you guys could kind of follow along with me. From her birth chart, we don't know, what her ascendant is or anything, but we could see this strong concentration in the Libra zodiac sign. And if you know anything about Libra, ruled by Venus, it's all about, or they constitute a heavy emphasis of balance, right? Harmony, fairness, judgment, but fear judgment. They love to pursue equality for all, right? Not just for themselves. Another thing about Libras, because it represents that portion before we go below the horizon, it's like they could see both sides of a situation. So they make good leaders, they make good judges, they also make good lawyers as well. Great interpersonal skills for the most part. Libras have that. And so because she has her Saturn in Libra, Saturn also is exalted, right? Saturn is quite dignified there in Libra. She has Jupiter in Libra. She also has Pluto in Libra. We could speculate that her Mercury is probably in Libra or it might be in Scorpio, but nevertheless she has a strong libertarian energy. And so you could see why they possibly, or there is that strong inclination for law, for justice, for order, building a reputation on treating people nicely, being diplomatic, being pleasant, and all of that libertarian energy, again, bringing harmony and balance to people, places, things, circumstances, and situations. We could also look at her sun in Scorpio. The sun in Scorpio is quite powerful because it allows her to connect deeply with people, places, certain things, and situations. We know that sun in Scorpio is going to have its deep agenda or motive or motivation. Let's put it that way. It's motivation that it may not always share with others. You may not always know what the Scorpio is feeling, but based on what they're doing, you kind of get a sense of it. And we know that the Scorpio seeks for depth, and so when it shines out, most likely, hopefully you're getting truth. Right? Scorpio sun usually wants a lot of truth. We could also see here when it comes to Venus, she has a Venus in Sagittarius, and so that's one of the ways that she could attract beautiful people, places, things, circumstances, and situations. She also loves freedom, loves traveling, loves honesty, loves the truth, right? And is a truth seeker, quite philosophical, quite spiritual, quite adventurous, probably most likely travel for education, is quite open-minded, and this person is not able to be controlled quite easily, right? So this person cannot be micromanaged. They cannot feel trapped or boxed in because Venus has mutable fires, so they're going to be versatile, flexible, and find different ways to be mutable and adaptable. Her Mars is in Virgo, and so she's quite precise, right? She could get quite irritable when it comes to sloppiness or poor hygiene or poor planning or things being quite messy, right? Virgo is the sign of precision, being quite accurate. It's ruled by Mercury, and while Mars is there, well, if things are not organized, well, Mars is hard working in that sign, then that could be a frustrating point. And so again, maybe not exploding, right, but being able to criticize or even get quiet or withdrawn when things are not being done properly. All right, and you could tell by this Mars in Virgo is that she may be a person who has the tendency of helping, fixing, advising, organizing, or doing practical things. Now let's quickly go on to the bust up, right? Why she would have resigned, because from what we can see in her birth chart, on a positive end, it seems like she's a great politician. She has all of these attributes in Libra, Scorpio sun in the early degrees. She got Neptune and Venus in Sagittarius, quite creative, brilliant mind. And so let's see what's happening. So I cast the chart from the resignation day. Let me see how to say this. I think it's better that they did it before the full moon. Anyway, if you look at the chart, the thing that stood out most to me is that if you look at the chart, we said that she has strong Libra energy, right? Strong Libra energy, even though she's a Scorpio. But what's opposite of Libra? That would be Aries. And she has a Saturn in Libra, but now Saturn is coming in Aries. And so Saturn is opposing its native position. And so that's one of the things that we could look at as, you know, some restrictions, some boundaries, some pressures, some great opposition, right? Saturn is also retrograde, and he went retrograde the same time she resigned, and so you could see that there's some great opposition, some great Satan opposing energy that's opposing her. And Saturn deals with institutions, right, and systems. And so this is not a decision that is of her own, but it's of the institution or the group or system that she's a part of, and they think that they're doing something for the betterment of the party, like they're forging a new identity. But actually, if they're not into astrology and watching my channel and things of that nature, they're actually just playing out a retrograde and going back into the past, right? And so that's a strong point of contention right here, this Saturn opposition to her natal Saturn placement. Okay, something that is also huge in the chart, remember she is a Scorpio. Scorpio is a fixed sign, and so she is squaring up, all right, with Jupiter in Leo, also Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so these squares are tension points, major tension points. Again, Pluto in Aquarius is the groups and affiliations and networkings that she's affiliated with, and there seems to be some sort of reform or reformation going there. She seems to be on the negative side of it. And again, her being a strong libertarian energy, she's going to choose the path of peace over war. And on the opposite side of that, Jupiter being in Leo is bringing expansion and also visibility to the sun, and her sun, or the sun is squaring her natal sun. And so again, some tensions between what's visible, what's happening, what we are all privy to, and what is actually happening behind the surface, because there's a lot of things as a Scorpio sun she's not going to reveal. This is definitely a part 1. We're going to have to do a part 2. If you guys find this interesting, let me know down below. We could do more videos like this one. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.